In this week's Seder of Pinchas, we pick up on the storyline that concluded the Seder of Balak. When the Jewish men of Israel had sinned with the Benos Moab and the Benos Midian, with the daughters and the women of Moab and Midian, and we were told at the conclusion of the Seder of Balak that there was an individual, a chieftain from within Israel itself, from the Shevet of Shimon, Zimri ben Solo, who had gone and he had taken no less than a daughter of one of the 5 heads of the nation of Midian, Cosbi Basur, and he flagrantly engaged in intimacy with her, effectively within the face of the entirety of Israel. Only one person responded to this horrific event, Pinchas, who ran to Moshe Rabbeinu when he said, Rebbe, you taught me that Kano and Pogamba, when we see such a scenario occurring, we are permitted and should take matters into our hands and kill the individual, the perpetrator. To which Moshe Rabbeinu responded, citing the Gemara, Rashi states, Karaina de Igrisa Iu Lehevi Parvanka. He who is so sufficiently moved, reading the letter as such, he who has read the letter and is embroiled at hand by that which he has understood as having taken place, he's the one who should mete out the punishment, and Pinchas did. And begins our Seder of Pinchas. The Kadosh Baruch Hu comes and says, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen, Hey Shivas Chamasi Me'al B'nei Yisrael, has turned back my wrath from upon the children of Israel, B'kano es kinasi b'socham, by effectively avenging my vengeance in their midst, and therefore I did not destroy the people of Israel. What does it mean that he avenged the vengeance of God in their midst? States this Farno, God says he not only avenged my name and my cover and my honor, but he did so in the eyes, in the purview, right in front of the eyes of all of Israel. He did what he did. And he did it in their faces, so that when they would see what he had chosen to perform, and they would not stop him, Yechupar, they would first be pardoned by me. Alasher lo michu beposhim, that they failed to take matters in hand when they should have, when they saw what the children of Israel were doing. And therefore, through killing Zimri ben Solu and Cosbi Basur in their faces, and seeing to it that they would not lift a hand to stop him, correctly so, they would be granted pardon for having stood idly by and failing to do what was theirs to move forward on when the sin in fact was occurring. One of the greatest challenges in life is that when we see things that we know are wrong, that we know are indefatigably incorrect, heinous, horrific, and yet we don't have the backbone to stand up, move forward, and speak our piece, to state that which should be said, to articulate that which is the Torah view. And instead we fall into the madding crowd, to the majority of numbers, and fail to act. And therefore, no wonder when HaKadosh Baruch Hu explains what the reward for Pinchas is to be, he says, L'chein emor, therefore Moshe Rabbeinu say, Hineni nosei lo es brisi shalom. I am going to give him brisi shalom, my covenant of shalom, of peace. But as explains the Baal HaTurim, the vav in the word shalom, meaning peace, is a vav ketia. It's a bifurcated, it's a split, it's a cut vav. If you look at a good edition of Mikros Gedolos, you will see it in there, let alone in the Torah itself. And the reason that it is cut is because to be a complete individual standing up for that which is indelibly correct, why, that takes such a sense, not just of simple justice, and identifying that which need be done. But it takes a temerity and it takes a stoicness that enables the person to do that which others fail to act upon. But such people in life, is it not true and is it not so? That their lives can never really be one of peacefulness, total peacefulness, because they're always pulled between the wrong of the masses and the right of the few. The sleepfulness of the masses and the sleeplessness of the few. Pinchas took a look at what had occurred and he said, my gosh, and nobody did anything. And now look what Zimri ben Solo was doing. And everyone stood idly by, failing to arise to perform God's work, B'kano es kinosi b'socham. And it was only Pinchas who did so. So he was given a covenant of kahuna that lasted endless generations. But it was a brisi shalom with a vav ketia, split in the middle, because there's always a pull, and there's always a dissonance. There's always a great difficulty, whether to align oneself with a majority. The majority at times could be wonderful people, or to align oneself on the other side of the line, which requires such greater inner strength and fortitude. I share this with the Olam today, not simply because Parshas Pinchas is Shabbos, but because it's Shavasar B'Tammuz. Shavasar B'Tammuz is a national day of the beginning of our 3-week period of mourning for what occurred today and culminating on Tisha B'Av. But Shavasar B'Tammuz also happens to be the yahrzeit of my late Shver, my late father-in-law, Zecher Tzaddik Livracha, Rav Yaakov Weinberg, Zecher Tzaddik Livracha, Rav Shmuel Yaakov, Rav Yitzchak Matisyahu, Zecher Tzaddik Livracha. My father-in-law, Zatzal, was a recognized Gaon with an Iluyisha mind, an Iluyisha power of articulation and speaking, endless brilliant insight into the human dimension of any individual who would come his way. He was a son-in-law, a son, a husband, a father, a zayda, she'en kamo, without parallel. As great as was his brilliance, so too was the depth of his love for his family and what he did for us at any moment of the day, should we simply pick up the phone or enter the portals of his home. But in addition to everything else, and in addition to the endless Rebbe that he was, to thousands of people, many of them having learned in Yeshivas Nei Yisrael, this is Talmidim, many of them who learned in Nei Yisrael in Toronto, but endless numbers who came his way with questions at Torah Masorah conventions and by word of mouth to seek his guidance, his understanding, his insight, his pikchus, his brilliance, his sagacity. But at the end of the day, he was no less a Pinchas. Because forever, he took that which he understood to have been emes, truth, that which he understood to have been the direction of the Torah, and he never, ever, ever shied away from speaking his mind in private and in public, because that's what it means to be a Pinchas. That's what it means to live a life that at times may have a shalom, which is a shalom shel katia, but to live a life of shleimus, of completion, knowing that one is always representing the Torah's Hashem, the bidding, the will, the desire, and the kavod of the Almighty. And regarding that and so much more, we miss him so deeply. May his neshama have an aliyah to the kisei hakavod, right next to the kisei of the Ribono Shel Olam, doing the bidding of Hashem Yisrael. Have a good show.